Alex, I spent the better part of yesterday morning trying to glue up a walnut tabletop while wearing a winter parka that made me look like a giant, overstuffed marshmallow. My breath was frosting over the wood, and the Titebond was getting so thick it looked like cold oatmeal. It's hard to do precision joinery when your fingers feel like frozen hot dogs.
I'm picturing you trying to wipe away glue squeeze out with a mitten. That explains the frantic text you sent me about thermal justice. I take it you've finally decided to stop treating your shop like a survivalist camp?
The straw that broke the camel's back was when I dropped a chisel, and it didn't just nick the floor, it shattered a plastic bucket of finish because the cold had turned it brittle as a tea biscuit. We talk a lot about the big tools, the shiny 5 horsepower table saws, but if you're shivering so hard you can't draw a straight line, none of that matters. Today, we're diving into the V and the AC of the shop, heating, cooling, and why we need to stop pretending that suffering builds character in a workshop.
It's about time. Every time I walk in here during August, I feel like I'm being slow roasted in a metal box. So, for everyone out there currently hovering over a space heater or standing in front of a weak floor fan, where do we actually start? Because HVAC sounds like something you need a master's degree in just to understand the acronym.
It's simpler than the manuals make it out to be, though the industry loves its jargon. Think of your shop like a big lung. HVAC is just heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. The V is the part most makers ignore until their lungs feel like they've been breathing in a desert sandstorm. It's not just about temperature, it's about moving air, filtering out the nasty bits like pet dander or sawdust, and keeping the humidity from turning your cast iron tools into orange, rusty paperweights.
Okay, let's break down the cooling side first, because that feels like the most mysterious part. We hear about refrigerants and compressors, but what's actually happening when I hit that on switch and hope for a breeze?
It's actually a bit of a magic trick involving a liquid that hates being a liquid. You've got this stuff called refrigerant. It's like a thermal sponge. In your evaporator coils, those copper tubes inside the unit, that liquid refrigerant evaporates. And just like when you step out of a pool and feel a chill, that evaporation sucks the heat right out of your shop air.
So we aren't actually adding cold to the room?
Exactly. You can't create cold, you're just a heat thief. You're stealing the warmth from the air, shoving it into that gas, and then the compressor, which is the loud, angry heart of the system, squeezes that gas until it's screaming hot. Then it heads to the condenser outside to dump that heat into the backyard. It's a giant relay race where the baton is just thermal energy you don't want.
A heat thief. I like that. But for a shop, we aren't exactly living in a pristine living room. We've got dust, metal shavings, and finishing fumes. Does a standard house AC even stand a chance in a place like this?
That's the rub. If you just slap a window unit in a wood shop and call it a day, you're basically asking that machine to commit suicide by sawdust. Those tiny cooling fins on the coils get packed with fine dust until the unit can't breathe. It's like trying to run a marathon while breathing through a wet sock. If you're going to cool a shop, you have to be obsessive about filtration. I'm talking about pre-filters, secondary filters, and maybe even a separate air filtration box hanging from the ceiling.
So if I'm looking at my shop, let's say a standard 2-car garage, and I'm tired of melting into a puddle, what are the actual options? I see people using those mini split systems everywhere now. Are those the holy grail or just a trendy way to spend $3,000?
They're popular for a reason. A mini split is basically an AC unit that went to finishing school. You don't need ductwork, which is a blessing, because trying to snake big silver tubes around your lumber rack is a nightmare. You just drill a small hole in the wall for the lines. They're quiet, too. I've been in shops where the AC was so loud I couldn't hear the hum of my own bandsaw, which is a great way to lose a finger because you didn't realize the blade was moving.
But they aren't exactly cheap. What about the thrifty maker? The one who spent their last dime on a new set of Japanese chisels?
You mean me 10 years ago? I used a swamp cooler, an evaporative cooler, for a while. It works great if you live in a place where the air is as dry as a sun-bleached bone. You're just blowing air over wet pads. But if you're in the South or the Midwest, a swamp cooler just turns your shop into a tropical rainforest. Your wood will swell so much that your drawers will never open again.
That sounds like a recipe for a very frustrated afternoon. Let's flip the script to winter. You mentioned your oatmeal glue disaster. What are we doing for heat? Because space heaters feel like a gamble when the floor is covered in wood shavings.
You hit the nail on the head. Using an open element space heater in a wood shop is basically like inviting a dragon to live in a straw house. One stray pile of cedar dust hits that glowing red wire, And suddenly, you aren't just heating the shop, you're starting a bonfire.
So, no glowing coils of doom. Got it. What's the safer bet for someone who doesn't want to burn their house down?
I'm a big fan of forced air garage heaters, the ones that look like big gray boxes hanging from the ceiling. They use a heat exchanger, so the fire part is tucked away safely. They can kick the temperature up from meat locker to t-shirt weather in about 20 minutes. Or if you're doing a big rehab, those new heat pumps are getting incredible. They work just like the AC we talked about, but they run in reverse. They steal heat from the freezing air outside and pump it into your shop. It sounds like physics-defying nonsense, but it works.
Wait, how does it find heat in 20-degree weather?
There's always heat energy in the air until you hit absolute zero, which luckily doesn't happen often in Ohio. It's just harder to find. It's like trying to find a specific screw in a junk drawer. It's there, you just have to work harder to grab it.
Okay, let's talk about the stuff no one considers, the distribution. I looked at a HUD report on HVAC rehab recently, and it spent a lot of time on ductwork. In a shop, does it matter where the air comes out?
It matters more than people think. If you put your heater right above your workbench, you're going to have a hot head and frozen toes. You want to create a circuit. You want the air to tumble through the space. And for the love of all that is holy, don't point your vents directly at your wood storage. If you blast bone-dry hot air onto a stack of expensive cherry boards, they're going to warp and cup like a Pringle.
So it's not just about comfort, it's about protecting the materials. What about maintenance? I feel like shop owners are great at sharpening blades, but terrible at checking their HVAC filters.
Guilty as charged. I once let a furnace filter go so long it got sucked into the blower motor. The sound it made was like a confused ghost screaming in a metal trash can. You have to treat your HVAC system like your most expensive power tool. Every month, check that filter. If you're doing a lot of sanding, check it every 2 weeks. And once a year, get a comb and straighten out those condenser fins outside. If they're smashed down, the unit can't dump the heat, and you're just burning electricity for no reason.
It sounds like the boring stuff, filters, insulation, ceiling leaks, is actually what makes the cool stuff work.
Exactly, you can buy the biggest heater in the world. But if your shop has the insulation value of a screen door, you're just heating the neighborhood. I spent a weekend just foaming the gaps around my garage door, and it made more difference than the actual heater did. It's the small, unglamorous wins that let you actually enjoy the craft.
So, the takeaway for the person shivering or sweating right now.
Don't wait until you're miserable to fix the climate. A comfortable shop is a safe shop. When you're cold or overheated, you rush. When you rush, you make mistakes. And in this hobby, mistakes involve sharp things. Invest in your environment so you can focus on the wood, not your numb toes.
And maybe leave the marshmallow parka for the ski slopes.
Hey, it was a very stylish parka, but yeah, the wood deserves better.